The former Prime Minister of Ethiopia, the current board chair of AGRA, His Excellency Hailemariam Desalegn, please, you're very welcome. The podium is yours.
It gives me a great pleasure and honor to address you on behalf of African Food Systems Forum Partners Group and AGRA at the official opening of the Africa Food Systems Forum 2024. The theme of this forum, Innovate, Accelerate and Scale, delivering food systems transformation in a digital and climate era in Kigali, a city of history, culture, exceptional hospitality, and innovation. On behalf of all of us here today, may I take this liberty of thanking the government and people of Rwanda for the warm hospitality and your outstanding generosity accorded to all of us. I'd also like to thank you all for joining this important forum, which creates an opportunity to deliberate on what we can do together to improve the Africa food systems and achieve results at scale. I eagerly anticipate that this forum will address the critical issues surrounding our food systems. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, food is an essential part of us, our continent, and our world. Ready, do we pause and ponder what it takes for the food to arrive on our plate? The journey for food mix from the farm to our plate is so long and often involves complex politics, sophisticated business, and interrelated networks. We need to realize that behind that ear of corn, the pack of chicken breasts, or the bag of apples in a network of actors whose efforts is making sure that you and I have food to eat. I extend our profound gratitude to all involved, and especially to our smallholder farmers. Ladies and gentlemen, we are gathered here this week to play our decisive role, and more importantly, to take the ownership of transforming our food systems. We know for sure that we cannot move forward with the same old ways. As the African saying goes, I quote, "For tomorrow belongs to the people who prepare for it today," end of quote. Africa is rich in land, natural resources, and biocultural diversity, all of which are critical assets for well-functioning food systems. Besides, with around 60% or so global share of arable land and food baskets corridors, it is a strategic position to cement a global leadership in agriculture and agribusiness and become the food and agribusiness center of the world. Despite all this, Africa remains the most food insecure continent. The situation is even more problematic in parts of the continent where the food systems are characterized by small-scale operations, short local supply chains, and market relations by spot exchange. We all agree that food systems transformation remains a major concern for Africa today and into the foreseeable future. Firstly, because food demand on the continent is currently growing at an average rate of 3% per annum. And secondly, the continent's population that's growing at the same rate will nearly double from the current state to around estimated 2.4 billion by 2050. It is also concerning that the state of food security in the continent is worsening, with over 20% of the continent's population undernourished. The food import bill is still very high, beyond 60 billion a year. We should take the responsibility for what is happening to our food systems. We are spending about only 4.6% of its total public spending on agriculture, falling short of the 10% target of the 2014 Malabo Declaration on Accelerated Agricultural Growth and Transformation for Shared Prosperity and Improved Livelihoods. Excellencies, food systems are local but also global, linking through trade and sophisticated financial markets. These markets rely on transactions and information that influence the decisions farmers make about inputs, including land, labor, and technology. Evidently, food systems are about production, nutrition, connectivity, and trade, and they are about connecting farmers to markets, enabling small-scale farmers to become small and medium enterprises. They are also about providing consumers with essential information and addressing the impacts of climate change, particularly in regions like Africa that suffer greatly despite net zero emitters. It is important to understand that food systems are central to many of the major global challenges of our time and play a critical role not only in shaping human diets and health outcomes, but also the sustainability of the environment in which food is produced, distributed, and consumed. Food system transformation is urgent, requiring rigorous, science-based monitoring to guide public and private decisions and support those who hold decision makers to account. And yet, African food system has not received the political attention it deserves and the concomitant and commitment it requires. I repeat this, and yet African food system has not received the political attention it deserves and the commitment it requires. If you ask me, how did you come about this conclusion? I would say just look at the amount of investment we put into our food systems, period. Excellencies, distinguished participants, for us in African Food Systems Partners Group and AGRA, we proved that with the right policy, support, and encouragement, our farmers can and will lift themselves out of poverty. I must emphasize that innovation can significantly drive the sustainable development of our food systems in Africa. It is a critical part of the food investment mix, providing new solutions that feed into strategic alliance for change. Scientific exchange in Africa should be strengthened to facilitate awareness of technological and scientific advances in transformation of our food systems. The role of government in this process is extremely significant, mainly through increasing the space for private sector, improving the policy and the regulatory environment. This is lacking. We should not disregard the role of women and youth, key features of the African food systems. Women and youth comprise more than 75% of the agricultural workforce in the region and are the predominant labor providers in agribusiness and agro-industries. Yet, in many parts of Africa, women and youth continue to face significant social and economic exclusion. They often lack access to productive resources, agricultural inputs, social protection, as well as technological and entrepreneurial know-how. Excellencies, as I conclude, I want to emphasize that the tradition towards more efficient and comprehensive food systems in the continent is imperative to ensure the provision of healthy and safe food in light of escalating population growth and climate change. This year's theme, Innovate, Accelerate, and Scale, delivering food systems transformation in a digital and climate era, underlines the need for us to forge together a stronger partnership to transform our food systems in a sustainable way, adapted to natural, national, and regional circumstances. We need to shift the narrative from food availability to the development of resilient food systems by ensuring that farming is intensive, climate smart, and technology enabled. We need to commit ourselves to work diligently to tap the Africans' youth creativity into transforming ideas, inventions, technologies to solving problems related to African food systems. This commitment includes creating a conducive policy environment for our youth to develop and sustain innovation platforms. We need to commit more investments in innovation to facilitate the transition of African agriculture from labor-intensive, low productivity activities to skills-intensive approaches and build resilient African food systems. I am confident that if managed and governed differently, food systems could be a champion of change, leading other sectors with solutions and inspiration. Let's be the champions of our food systems. I thank you all, and God bless you.